Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's OG Chizzy Beats and I am not live and in the flesh today. But it's all good because I'm coming to you with a tutorial on how I would make a beat for Drake if he were to do some R&B on Certified Lover Boy, or for my guy Bryson because his Anniversary Deluxe album is coming out tomorrow. So if you're interested, go ahead and keep watching and hit that subscribe button. And speaking of subscribers, shout out to y'all. We have finally hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel and I really appreciate the love and support so much. But enough of the mushy gushy, let's go ahead and get into the cookup. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by lowering the tempo to 98 just to set the vibe. And I am going into Analog Lab 4. So previously I was using the light version of this, but I decided to treat myself because why not? And I got the full version and I love it so much. So I'm going to go ahead and look at some keys and use one of my favorite keys that I've been using recently. I think it's called Axe Steel. Y'all let me know. So it has like a lot of delay to it and I really like how nice and vintage it sounds. So before I start laying down some chords, I'm just going to lay down the scale that I'm going to be using, which is a major scale in F sharp, and just lay that out so it's easier for me to see when I start doing chords. All right, so now that I have that out, I'm just going to start off like how I usually do by doing a major 7th chord. Just following the notes that I'm seeing. Boom, song done. I'm kidding. So I'm going to sauce this up by inverting some of the chords. So I'm just going to highlight them and use Control up to take them up an octave. And it just sounds different. And those two notes really close together look weird, but as you can see, it's within the scale. Now I'm just reverse engineering the other chords. So as you can see, that C note is not in the scale, but it just sounded right. And sometimes the rules like just don't apply. So do whatever sounds good to you. So I like these little 2 bars. So I'm going to copy the first 2 chords and then come up with a different 3rd chord. So all together, this is what I have. So I really like this. I'm just going to play around with the velocities of some of the notes because I think I want to take down the strength, the velocity of the higher notes and just kind of like accentuate the lower end. So I'm just highlighting and playing with it by hand. Okay, and while this sounds really cool, I have an idea in my head. So I want to make the notes kind of like swell and reverse into each other. So what I'm going to do first is add reverb because the piano is really like short and I need the notes to be longer if I want to reverse it. So I'm adding hella reverb to this. Just turning up the decay, everything. And it sounds like this. So now the next thing I need to do is reverse the chord progression because it's all going to come together in a minute. Just watch. So I'm using flip to reverse the chord progression. And now I'm going to record this to audio. Just bounce it to audio on cut remainder. And now hit the reverse button. So as you can see, this is the original chord progression I had. It's just like reversing into each other and you get that really cool effect. And it's just something that sounds more like Bryson now. And I just added a simple band pass just to cut out some of the low and high end. And the vibe is setting in, y'all. I can feel it. So now I'm going to go into expand 2 and look for something that I can use on the higher end. So I'm going to the bright pads. So this preset called Stars, it just adds something like sparkle on top, which is needed. I'm just going to add a few effects to it, an EQ and a fruity chorus. Still not exactly sure what a chorus technically does, but I always love the sound of it, so I just add it in. And I'm playing around with the EQ. And now y'all know what's next. I need a little vocal chop. So I'm going into my splice folder, and I already downloaded something that I thought might sound good with this. So you can see that the tempo of the vocals at 135. So I'm taking it up to 135, putting it on stretch, and then lowering it back to 98. So now it's going to be in time no matter the tempo. And now I'm just making the sample in tune by increasing it by 100 cent intervals. And this is what it sounds like. So it's really tucked into the background, but I like it. But I'm going to just mess around with it a little bit. So I'm cutting out the high end, and I'm going to open up gross beat and add a few effects. So I'm adding a side chain and turning it down, and then I'm going to add a pattern to it. And it sounds like this. So I like it. And now it's time to get a little bit into the drums just so I can feel the vibe better. So I'm adding a clap, well, really a perk. And I'm adding it on the 3. I've used this in a couple of my other beats. I really just love how spacey and like nice it sounds. And I'm going to layer it with another clap. Layering your claps or snares is really like some sauce. So go ahead and do that if you haven't tried that before. And just adding a simple 2-step hi-hat for now before I go ahead and sauce it up later. But I'm feeling the vibe, are y'all? So now I'm just going to go ahead and add a melody. So for R&B songs, you don't want to do too much with the melody. Like, let the artist have their space, but having a melody in there is nice to have sometimes. So I'm just following the scale. I can't see it very well. That's why I'm just like stumbling along doing this, but it's all within the scale. I low-key wish I had kept the scale in because it would have been easier to just follow it. So now I was kind of being lazy. I didn't feel like looking for a different sound in a VST. So I used the dark piano. I'm just going to add some effects to it. I like it. It makes it sound kind of detuned. And I added some reverb, isotope vinyl, and Valhalla Supermassive. So like I said, the vibe is coming in nice. And now it's time for me to add a kick. So I'm going to go into my guy, Nate the producer's drum kit. And I'm going to use one of his kicks. I love this kick so much. It's nice and sturdy. So as you can see, the kicks are pretty much spaced out. You don't want to be too distracting with drums when it comes to R&B music. And now it's time to sauce up the hi-hats. I'm taking out this note just to add bounce to it. And you know I gotta add some rolls. So I'm putting it on 4th step using that paintbrush and putting it on the 2, and I will put it on the 4. I like to put my rolls on the 2 and 4 and not on the 3 or 1 really, just because the 3 has the hat, has the clap, and like the 1 usually has a kick. And I'm gonna add one more roll. You don't want to go too crazy, but add some character. Okay, so now that I added that one final roll, I'm pretty much satisfied with this hi-hat. So I'm just gonna copy this pattern and add a snare now. I like having assertive snares like this, but I'm just alternating the velocities between the snares just to add a little bit of dynamics to the beat. Adding an open hi-hat from the Summer Walker kit. And if you're thinking this beat doesn't sound complete, you're absolutely right. We need a sub bass. So I'm resisting the urge to use sub bass 1 because it's my favorite, but I'm gonna use sub bass 4. Just switch it up, why not? Adjust the envelope, make sure it's in tune, and copy and paste the scale and use the root notes, or whichever notes you want. I'm gonna lift this second to last note. Just for a little switch up. I am changing the attack because it was a bit harsh. And y'all, we are basically done. Like, I'm gonna add a few perks and one more melody, but I'm liking how this sounds. I can definitely hear Bryson floating on this. So I added this melody in here. Again, nothing too complex. Leave space, y'all. I'm gonna switch up the sound. Using a bell instead of the piano, adding some effects to it. And I'm adding pancake. Now this is a free effect and it just adds some nice panning between the ears. It just keeps the beat interesting and wide. Adding a few perks. And y'all, we are done. And this is how you make a beat that I can definitely hear Drake on if he was to do some R&B stuff on Certified Lover Boy, or definitely my guy Bryson. So I'm just going to do a quick breakdown of some of the elements. So we have our chords. Then we have our vocals. Added some effects to this. Gross beat. And then we have our bass and our drums. And that is all you need. And my melody. But you don't really need a melody when you do R&B music because you want to leave space for an artist. But that is it, y'all. So now I'm going to arrange this beat and play it for you guys next. If you guys enjoyed this video, I hope you guys give it a like and a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Let's take this thing to the moon. And I really appreciate you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy your day. And I'm going to play the full beat for you guys right about now.